Okay, welcome to Stampede Digital Systems Marketing Accelerator program. My name is Troy Campbell, and we are going to talk today about how to set up Google Analytics and Tag Manager. So I am just getting, I apologize, I'm just getting into an account so I can share this with you, how to set this up. And let me tell you a little bit about what Google Analytics is. It's a free tool from Google that's connected to their servers. And what it allows us to do is connect a little bit of JavaScript on our sites. And what this does is that JavaScript connects to their server so that when people are visiting our web pages, we're starting to get some data on who's visiting and how often they stay, because that JavaScript is monitoring each visit, and then it's sending that data back to Google, where it's processed, put into graphs, and we can see exactly who's coming to our site, what they're doing. So today, what we're going to really talk about is this digital analytics. And so for me, what we're talking about really is, digital analytics, the kind of the key concept that you want to take away. It's just that process that we want to measure our business goals, understand, how we're performing, and then find ways to improve and optimize that performance. The idea that you want is we're doing continual improvement. The market changes, your products change, and you need to respond through that. A lot of times, marketing is very humiliating for those of us who might tend to have a big ego, because what happens is some sort of plan, some sort of marketing piece that we think is going to work doesn't. And sometimes pieces that we don't think of work really do. Well, so there's a little bit of testing, different iterations that needs to go on. And so analytics is really the process for that. And so those analytics, those are really called metrics that we're trying to get. And they're really the quantitative, that measuring piece by piece. But Google Analytics and other analytical systems, they also try to make qualitative decisions. And so Google calls those dimensions. A little other few things you might want to keep in mind is what we're tracking is we're tracking page views. So a page view is basically a visitor on a page on our site. And that's a little bit different because you may have heard of the term hit. Right? What is the difference? Well, a page view is someone just coming to our site, and a hit is the actions that they're taking on our site. So we have a page tracking hit when they interact with just a page, just they're loading it. There's an event tracking hit, and so that's when they're clicking on our calls to action, scrolling down our pages. These are different events that are occurring, and then obviously there's e-commerce hits because now they're clicking in, checking out the products and the services, adding things to the cart, checking out. So those are all the types of hits that can occur within that when someone's seeing that page view. And so if you take all of that together from a single person, single visitor, that's called a session. So how many sessions are going on is what we want to know. How many pages they're looking at, what kind of hits are happening, and then obviously an excerpt is the browsing. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to track these users of our websites, and eventually, if we get good, we can segment them, and we can try to figure out how many of them are converting. So let's say we discover that everyone with earlobes it buys our products, and everyone, like I've got these I don't have really dangly earlobes, right? But some people do. And so people with earlobes that are more dangly, they're all buying our stuff, and those without aren't. Well, why? What is going on with that? And this is where we can start to figure out conversions. We can start setting up goals, because we know if we, let's say, if we know that for every 10 visitors we get a sell, then we want to try to figure out how do we get 100 visitors so we can get 10 cells. Or if we need 100 visitors to get one cell, then we need to know how many, do we need to get 10,000 people? What? And so we have to start figuring out those numbers and break it down. It sounds a lot more complicated than it is, because once you get going, the wonderful thing about these analytical systems is they do a lot of the work for you. So another thing that you may just remember is how does Google track this, right? Well, that's where cookies come in. That's where we're having this movement of no cookies or getting rid of cookies, because people are saying we don't want people to track us. But that's basically what's happening, is they have to have that website's going to put that little text document that we call a cookie on their website and track. And then that's going to feed that back to the JavaScript or the pixel, and then that's going to go to the servers, and then that's going to end up with us. So without further ado, what I wanted to do is just log in and share my screen with you on Google Analytics. And so I am going to try to get into, let me share my screen here. Okay. So let me see, make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to log out of this Gmail account, and I'm going to log into another old one. And they're going to make me do this. Thank you, Google, because I hate getting hacked. Let me see. Okay, good. I already verified it. Okay. So to get to Google Analytics, guess what you do? You can just type in Google Analytics. All right. Now, what we're trying to do is, so we're setting up our Google Analytics account, because remember how I told you there's a JavaScript that we need. We need to figure out how to get that code. Okay. So it looks like I do have a few things on here. So let me try to go in to it's trying to connect me up with some of my other Google Analytic accounts. Okay, so this is what you should get, is this start measuring. And so then when you come in here, you need to create your account name. And so I'm just going to do this test for cohort. And then you set up the account sharing information with Google. I've never had a problem with Google sending me information about their products and services, so I always click that. Okay, and then you hit next. Now, there's two different things that we can do, and I'm going to show you one. I'm going to show you the old way today, and that's called Universal Analytics. That's being retired by Google. That was how the old system. Now they're doing what's called Google Analytics 4. And so all of the systems will do that. There'll be some changes. It'll be better in the long run. But having pretty much the entire planet go from Universal Analytics to Google 4 is going to be a little bit messy for a bit. So what I want to do is just show you how do you set up the old way with if you just wanted to set up a Universal Analytics property, that has a UA a number. And the reason I want to show you this instead of the Google Analytics 4 right now is because there's still a lot of old systems that you might want to integrate with that don't yet integrate with Google Analytics 4. And so you won't be able to use those systems with it. That's rapidly changing, but just for the sake. So I'm just going to put in our test website here, because that's the property. Maybe it's a test app, right? Maybe you have an app that you want to track. And then I'm in Utah, so I'm going to put Boise time, and it's US dollar. Now, instead of hitting next, what I do for the universal analytics, okay, so there's the old one, universal analytics UA, and the new one is Google Analytics 4. So what I want to do is I want to create a universal analytics property. So don't hit next yet, but you want to go to this advanced. Now, in this case, let's say I put my fictitious cohort test.com. Okay. And you can click this to collect both a universal and an analytics. But just to keep this simple, I'm just going to go in here and put create universal analytics only. Right. Then once I've got that done, now I hit next. Okay. In here, this is the only thing that's really hard about in here is your industry category. Now, these aren't like, the government has a list of a classification system for all the industries, the planet does, but this is Google's. And so I'm going to do, let's say, maybe what I want to do is, about what happens if I do a course? Okay. What about training? How about we just go into maybe jobs and education? Fine, right? So this could be a little bit of a challenge because people are trying to look through here and find something. You could put other, but this is sort of the categories you really have to check from. So maybe we do internet and telecom. I think I want to put just for this jobs and education because we're training people. So then how big is our company? Well, let's do that. You can check some of these, all of them. I'm just going to check all of them except other, because all of these might apply to how we want to use Google Analytics. Okay, so now we create it. And what we get is we get this terms of data processing and terms that are required to, and so you kind of go through that. And then there's one more, and that's the measurement controller data protection terms. So make sure that because they won't let you create that without saying yes to those. So read through those. And then basically we will have this new information. And so again, I don't care if they're going to contact me with that. Okay, so right off the bat, since we did this the old way without the Google 4, see right here, this is our tracking ID. So what you want to do is you want to copy that. Now, all of our students in the cohort, we have you in Airtable. And so what you want to do is somewhere in there, you need to save that. And so you might put Google Analytics and Airtable. If you do there's those little blue arrows. If you open that up, it'll open up that line. And so we paste in that UA code. You want to save these because you're going to be using them. Sometimes you don't need the little JavaScript that we're going to copy and paste set now. All you need is this code. But right here is the script. This is what's going to go on your website. Okay. That, or in the cases where you can just put in the UA code. the tracking ID, you can do that. So please go into your Airtables, students of ours, and put in this for us, because we're going to help you get this on your site if you don't have it already. And so now we save that. Now, here's the thing. So now basically it seems as if we're done, but we got one other step before we go forward. And do you see right here where it says all website data? What we're going to do is we're just going to create a backup of this. And the reason is because what happens, this all website data is, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go to admin. Okay. So right here, this is where that tracking information that I just showed you is at, right? Well, here is the views. So right here, all website data, but there's no other views in here. Well, what happens as out of the box, Google's already configured a bunch of stuff for you, for us. So that makes it really nice. And so we can call that sort of like it's in a virgin state. It's never been touched. But we get to configure this however we want. So a lot of the times, just the basic out of the box is great. But sometimes we want to go in there. And so like right here on goals, we can start tracking different e-commerce and we can start setting up goals. Here's the e-commerce settings. Well, if we go in here to all website data on this view, and we start making those changes, and later we want to change it back to its original untouched state, we can't do that. So it's really, really simple. All we do is, so we already have kind of the normal view is already there, or that template view is already there. So we're just going to make a copy of it. And so maybe we call this this view original data. Okay. Do not use. Okay. And then maybe we set it for the Boise time because and it's a website, and that's that view. So now if you see, I've got two views in here, all website data, and then I've got the original that if I ever screw up, I can come back. Some people want to have a third one where they might create another view, and they call it testing view, where they can come in and they just do their tests on it to see how it works. Oh, what did I just do? And so they're not even going to touch the analytical settings that they have. They're just going to create a separate view and have that do report under the test. And if they like it, then they can add it to their all website data view right there. That's pretty much it, because now what we want to do is we're going to end up wanting to put that onto your website, those codes. And once that's done, then the Google Analytics will start to do tracking. And we have our dashboard, our marketing app dashboard, that's going to pull everything into that marketing app dashboard. And you're going to get the reports that you could get if you started to come in here to the Google Analytics itself and start looking at these different reports. And so let me tell you a little bit about some of this in these reports. So right here, this is real time. Now, most small businesses, which is where I mostly work with, small and medium sized, real-time view is never really that big a deal. It's when your site is getting really, really complicated and you're running multiple campaigns and you have to be, and you're making changes, on a real-time basis. That's when real-time starts to really come in. So most people won't really need this. That's just my opinion. Maybe some people are smarter than me, but most small businesses are just really too busy to want real-time tracking. Even though it will do that, They just won't use it up at the very beginning. But what they will use is audience. Because audience is where it's going to start telling us, you know, who is actually looking. It's going to start pulling in this demographics, and we're going to see their ages and their genders and who they are and what they're doing. This is where we can come in here. We can start targeting and tracking and looking at different things. What are their interests? You know, what is their, you know, where are they at? What kind of technology are they using? Mobile? Are they on tablets? Are they Apple? Are they Microsoft? Windows? Is it Linux? Okay, what are they doing? And so these are some of the things that we're starting to track. Now let me show you down here what attribution is, and then, you know, how are these conversions, right? What are our goals? What campaigns are working? These are some of the things, and then obviously behavior is what most people are going to be looking at too. How often do people stay on our website? Where do they go? You know, what's going on? How fast is our site? That's what behavior is. And so audience and behavior are two big ones. And then we have acquisitions and then conversions. And conversions are really nice because that's what it's all about. We want to see how often what we're doing is we're getting our website and our campaigns are converting to money. Now, what attribution is? Attribution is a really interesting concept, and let me just briefly go over that. What attribution is imagine that you have 10 campaigns going, and so you're suddenly you're getting more conversions on your site. Let's say you're selling I don't know, a water bottle, and suddenly now your water bottles are just going crazy. You're selling 10 times more than you ever did. Which campaign are you attributing that success to? Maybe you can get rid of all 9 and just one of them. You know, and then also what part of the funnel. So remember, a sales funnel is you have your top of the funnel, your MOFU is the middle of the funnel, and BOFU. Which, you know, what part is being converted? You know, where can we make attributions? Or think of another way to do attributions. Let's say you sent a mailer, okay, to a client or to a group of people, and then that same group of people you send an email market to. Maybe you're in targeted display. Maybe you have a television ad. Maybe you have an app, right? And so you're doing all these different things, and then you're seeing where all the conversions are happening through your app. So you may want to attribute, well, we need to just use this app more because that's where everyone's buying. But if you weren't doing the other things, maybe they never get to the app. And so you might say, well, I'm going to stop doing these other things because I'm attributing the success to the mobile app, the app. That's where we get our conversions, when really that's just the last stage. And so figuring out what is working and what isn't, that's where we're trying to track attribution. So that is basically what I wanted to cover, just how to set up UA. To set up the Google for, you just don't go into that special session and then set that up. So that is what I wanted to cover today. All right.